we have less women here in the agriculture field. Why?
What can we do?
In fact, it's easy to threaten a woman.
When there is no enough income, what happens? Domestic violence comes in.
I do not want a different conclave on gender to talk about transgender livelihood.
The idea of this dialogue is to locate the position, role and contribution of women of all identities in the discussions on climate justice, which are overwhelmingly very patriarchal, with little and marginal representation of women leaders at the great global dialogues and debates. No agenda is complete or inclusive if a feminist agenda is missing.
Today, the global community of leaders and policymakers have transitioned from the term mitigation to adaptation. In Northeast India, some of the changing patterns of climate change are development-induced displacement due to building of dams and other infrastructure, out-migration in search of livelihood, and increased number of conflicts and wars over land and natural resources, and that is only going to grow.
Women play a key role during the conflict and also in the peace process and post-conflict.
In Northeast, the resources are there, but we should remember the resources are there to serve, to help us for our generation, not for one generation.
In that scenario, I just wanted to ask, how can we women raise our voice in a policy making level?
I offered myself, hey, include me in the committee, I also want to be there. We have to start like that.
Seedor kotha ase, indigenous seeds preservation or kotha ase. Gotike ami jodi chao je indigenous seeds to jodi amar logot na thake tenehole amar hator pora gote agri-based livelihoods to climate change or karone eta hobat amar pora naikia hoi jabo.
How can we relate it as a climate change and gender-based violence?
It is very important to look at climate from two perspectives to understand gender-based violence. First is the slow onset of climate. Second is acute climate disaster that happen, and the results we can see. Say for example, during COVID we came to know that there was a rampant increase of cases of domestic violence.
Especially when you look at the experiences of climate change, Northeast is currently, going through a lot. Climate change is for real, we are all experiencing, we all acknowledge that it's affecting the communities, but how is this affecting, what are the gendered impacts of?
Look at all the community forests, look at June, look at natural resources, who's controlling them in terms of the collections and looking after the family and looking after the community. It is the women.
Different speakers from different communities, from different backgrounds, from larger organizations came together and we were able to talk about climate change and gendered vulnerabilities.